trauma is real. PTSD is real.
Yeah.
And reliving those events happen more often than not for a lot of different veterans.
Yeah.
And it might just feel like they pushing you aside or you feel displaced or whatever the case is. But a lot of them that don't get help, they wind up self-medicating or learning ways to cope within themselves. And it wind up being those detrimental ways, and it wind up having issues with your family. So, the divorce rate is so high, tend to lose their job and or just be a menace to society and just have reckless behavior follow them because they don't know how to process or don't feel like they have an outlet. So I would encourage those family members to, one, exercise patience and understand that it is going to be different because your loved one is different. They had an experience that was probably one of the most chaotic and fulfilling things to them. I know that's oxymoronic, but like when you in it, you gun-ho because like this is survival. I got to do what I got to do to survive.
Yeah.
So you're not really thinking about things that are back home. You're thinking about them. You hoping that everything is well, but you're focused on the now because if I slip up or if I'm too emotional, it can be life or death depending on what your job is,
Right, yeah.
So those distractions of home can potentially be catastrophic while you in theater or combat zone, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
So the patience is one thing I think family can do. I also think they can do research on ways to support that person or educate yourself. Most bases throughout the country have like advocacy groups for family members, whether those spouses groups or groups of family or groups for reintegrating, that soldier back into your life because it is an adjustment. For a long time, like I didn't want to go out like in public. I didn't want to be around crowds because over there crowds are different.
Right.
Like just imagine, you like here, I think, it's like, how some people are from like the South or something, they go to New York, like, yo, everybody bumping me, they stepped on my shoes. So it's a little bit different. So just imagine that happening, but somebody's trying to kill you or it's a sniper somewhere or it's an explosion going off, so those things can be traumatic. So for a long time, I personally didn't want to go to crowds, whether that's to watch fireworks on the holiday or taking my daughters to King's Dominion or to whatever the case is. I'm like, I'm good. I'll play the back. Or either if I am somewhere, even now, I still sit in position to where I can see the exit. I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I can protect myself, protect my family, and, potential whoever's else in the situation. So a lot of veterans still do that.
Yeah.
So that's another way that you can, assist in alleviating them by allowing them to be free and be open and adjust, So I definitely would say do your research, though, is a big one.
You talked about family and like how family can be patient with understanding like what a veteran is going through. I want to kind of open this up a little bit more to even outside of veterans, just Black men in general, right? Like, what are some signs that you think sometimes get missed that are signals that a Black man might be dealing with something or suffering?
So I think Hollywood does a poor depiction of what different diagnoses are.
Okay.
What I mean by that, let's just pick one. Let's just take depression.
Okay.
Which is a common diagnosis, right?
Right.
But from the Hollywood standpoint, every time or the majority of the time you see something like depression being played out in the media, it's what you see. You see
somebody sad.
this thin white girl sitting on the couch crying her eyes out eating a tub of ice cream.
Right.
So if you this big guy that deployed and or played football or, is just a, macho man mentally, you like, I can't relate to that. I ain't sitting around here crying. But it's other symptoms of depression that people tend not to, specifically men tend not to focus on. And some of those things is isolation, lack of interest and pleasure, being lonely, not engaging in stuff that you used to, difficulty sleeping, poor appetite, and the biggest one as far as depression is, of course, the anger piece, which is oftentimes that secondary emotion.
Explain that,
Yeah, anger is one of those things that happen for men in depression, because oftentimes they don't know how to articulate like what that true emotion is. So it comes out as anger or displacement. In my book, is a chapter dedicated to displacement, meaning I want to articulate how I feel right now, but it comes out as anger. So just imagine that Black man or whoever, since we're talking about Black men or we're talking about veterans or whatever. So that veteran or that Black man is at work right now and his coworker, Tom, is getting on his nerves or Tom filed something wrong or Tom made a mistake and blamed it on him. now the boss is involved or whatever the case is. So now you got to sit with your boss. Your boss is coming down on you. You got reprimanded. You can't fire off on Tom because you lose your job. You can't fire off on your boss because you lose your job. You might get arrested or whatever the case is. So that displacement anger, you go home and kids in the living room playing just regular day. They just doing kid stuff. But for you, now you angry and it's displaced to those kids. Like, yo, why y'all making all that noise? Why the TV's up loud? Or why these Legos all in the floor? The anger ain't for them. You know, the wife probably in there cooking you dinner and you like, yo, you got to bang the pots and pans that loud, or why you got to wash dishes now. Like, yo, that anger is not for them. That anger was for your coworker Tom and your boss that you couldn't give that anger to. So I think not knowing how to articulate that, and when you come home, hey, kids, I need y'all to, you know, daddy need a little bit of space so you can play with y'all later, or your wife, hey, babe, I had a rough day. I don't feel like talking right now, but let me kick off my shoes and relax real quick, and then we can chop it up. But right now, you know, but it's difficult to say that sometimes, so it comes off as boisterous and anger and whatever else the case is.
I need you to talk about emotional suppression versus like regulation. What is the difference between the two? Because I feel like sometimes for us as men, we get caught up in like suppressing, and we think that's the same thing as like processing.
Yeah, so suppression is one of those things that tend to, so when you regulate, it's in your control. You know, all right, cool. I can give you this tidbit now because I'm in control of that. But when you suppressing, it's like devoid of. It's one of those things that you aren't even, you probably don't feel like you're capable of giving within those moments or those spaces. So that can be difficult, not only for you, because think about it, you probably been doing it forever. So you numb and desensitized to it. So you don't even know it's happening right now. You just, whoever's on the other end of that, typically your partner or your children or your coworkers or your teammate, they like, bro, you checked out. Like, what's going on? You know, but to you, you're like, yo, what is going on? Like, what else do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Bro, I'm guilty of that. Like, it's not intentional, but sometimes I don't know if I'm connecting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I am emotional enough in certain situations. So
explain
for me,
what you mean by that. Yeah,
is self-awareness, and of course, you have people who will check you and let you know. But it just depended on the situation and the people involved, I guess. You know, like if somebody wants you to not necessarily be over emotional, but react a certain way or a way that they want you to react, I'm cool with you telling me about that. But for me, it's more of when and how to do it.
Tap into it. Okay. I like where you're going right now, because I'm thinking about a lot of men that are like not necessarily nonchalant, but maybe are not as tapped into their emotions in every different like scenario. How have you navigated that? Because you mentioned it, like, and I mean, I know you're still navigating it, but has there been anything specifically that's worked well for you with like navigating not being as emotionally available in certain circumstances?
Yeah. So, I mean, what you said as far as the regulation and the suppression, you know, it's a difference. So not suppressing it, but being open to, let me, you know, give a little bit if that's what they want or that's what they require. Let me try to work on it. Or let me do that self-reflection and see. And I think for a lot of people, it's more one of those things of, it's easier to look out a window than it is to look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? You look out the window, you can, oh man, like Kizzle got, you know, ketchup stain on his shirt. What did he eat today? But then as soon as you get home at night, you look in the mirror like, yo, I got the same ketchup. Like, what? I done dropped, you know, sauce on my shirt too. I'm tripping. I ain't even catch this earlier, but I seen Kizzle joint. So it's one of those type things. So I think you just have to be in a position to want to know those changes. And then for me personally, man, my wife, bro, you know, she one of them people who is in tune with her emotions. And then where I'm sitting, it's one of those things like, hey, your level of emotional need is like astronomical. It's one of those things of like, yo, are you sure? Like, I have to balance, like, is it enough or is it like over the top? Like, why do you feel that you need that? So just us being able to connect and discuss a lot of stuff, we just tap into it. Like, is it normal what you need, or is it excessive because you didn't get it at a different time in your life, you know, prior to me, or is it am I not that emotional into what the addition of what you need?
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. Know you need to hear it, my brother.